So how does hacking influence companies? Guys, it's getting scary. I think the latest report shows that businesses worldwide will spend over $1 trillion a year just to protect as well as fix issues such as their reputation, or even having to face lawsuits because they lose customers' private information. We hear this almost weekly now that some company was hacked. And, here's what's interesting. I think I pointed this out before, but notice that when we hear about customer information being lost, it's never XYZ company discovered that today. It's never a 0 day. It's always 4 months ago this company was attacked. Just off the top of my head, we can all think of probably, Target. And it got worse as they did their investigation. It started off initially as Target only reporting that only a couple 100,000 customer information was actually pilfered. As it went along, we ended up finding out that it was almost 40 million accounts worldwide were affected by this attack. Now, this attack only took place in less than 30 days. So they were only in there for 30 days. But here's the kicker. And when you may not make the connection right away, and I'll help you here. The attack took place, or the customers that were affected were the ones who shopped at Target stores between, you ready for this? November 27th through December 15th. And that was of 2014. Think about that one. Yeah, let's see. What are people doing at that time frame? Shopping. It's like the busiest retail shopping time. And don't think that Target wasn't affected, not only by having to fix the issue, but also their reputation. Intellectual property. Yeah, ask Sony about that one. Emails about projects coming up, actual movies during that attack. Isn't it kind of weird that before Apple comes out with the new iPhone that there's some knockoffs already available in other countries? Back in 2014, there were actually some guys who got caught stealing data from Microsoft and the intellectual property all around the Xbox One, Xbox Live consoles, software including the Call of Duty, I think it was Warfare 3, several different software games were also hacked, as well as software that was used for training military helicopter pilots. So even though it may seem like, intellectual property, at one extreme, it's, hey, I got a copy of the latest version of Call of Duty, versus somebody just stole how we're training our pilots in the military. Again, one extreme to another. Downtime and slow sites. These are extremely influential to companies. If eBay or PayPal goes down, or they can't process payments fast enough. Let me ask a question. Let me back up here a second. Anybody know how long a user waits when they type in a URL and they hit enter? Anybody know what the average wait time is before they give up? Yeah, it's less than 3 seconds nowadays. Back in the old modem days, and for those of you guys that don't remember modems or weren't around, that's back when our computers screamed at us. It was 8 minutes, especially when it comes to dealing with collaboration. We are so used to, and society is getting so used to, this instant collaboration environment where we have things on the cloud. We have the ability to attend video conferences where we can see people and interact with them live. You don't think GoToMeeting would be affected financially or be influenced if hackers made it so that their technology acted very slow? Actually, I've been in classes where using, I won't say which company it was, but where I was using a virtualized environment where my students were attending remotely, and the company that provided that technology for us did come under a DOS attack as I was teaching, and it resulted in my students being cut off or not able to hear or see or to participate. Now think of the ramifications all around. Not only did that particular company have issues, but now we have employees who are supposed to be attending training. There's costs associated to that. They missed out on that training. It just continues to snowball. I had to go and spend extra time catching the students up. Well, that was time that the training center had to pay me for. So there's always the snowball effect, which gets us into lost revenue. There's a famous case among security folks that we know of, which was kind of interesting because I didn't hear a lot of this on the news to the general user, and it's probably because of the reputation issue. But back in 2013, there was a massive theft. And when I say massive, I'm talking $900 million was stolen from over 100 banks worldwide. How they actually caught it is an ATM machine, and I think it was in Russia, started actually dispensing cash at random times throughout the day. And there would be like nobody at the ATM, just people would be walking by and they'd start shooting out cash. What had happened is that the attackers had put some malware into the bank's computer systems, and it had been sitting there for months, and it was sending back video feeds and images that helped the attackers with giving them tons of information of how the bank actually worked, their daily activities, their daily routines. And guess how they got the malware in? Yeah, it started with just a phishing campaign. They sent out massive numbers of emails to bank employees that had links to interesting looking content that was secretly infected with a malware that was called Carbonca. And what happened is the email would actually infect one computer within the bank and then slowly start to go across or work its way across the network until it gained access to an administrator's computer. And once it got there, it actually went through and started recording keystrokes and took screenshots of the activities of the administrators. Now, again, once they were able to see the bank's procedures, the attackers were then able to go through and just steal by transferring money into fraudulent bank accounts. And then they used e-payment systems to spend the money to fraudulent accounts overseas and direct ATMs to start dispensing, cash at set times. That just gives you a taste of what can happen with financial information. From a corporate level, financial information can be catastrophic, as I just mentioned, but also for a individual user. Nothing is worse than having your bank information compromised. Just this last week, I got a text alert from my credit card company telling me that somebody had approved a transaction for a toll road in New York. Well, I don't live anywhere near New York, and I haven't been to New York, and it was only for $7.10. Because I'm really paranoid, I immediately called on the transaction to find out what was going on. And what hackers do or attackers do is they will actually go through when it comes to financial. They'll try doing just a small withdrawal to see if it works or to see if it'll be caught. And then later they'll go through and deploy a bigger attack. And that was the case. Somebody was testing to see if they could withdraw money from my account. I don't think they were picking on me per se. I think they were just doing random accounts. I don't know. Maybe they are picking on me. Maybe I should stop recording. No, I'm kidding. The reputation, this also influences the company. As I mentioned before, when we look at the attack that took place with Target, as well as the attack that took place with Sony, obviously reputations were hurt, which then again also results in a loss of business. And this affects everyone. Any company that gets attacked. Trust me, Sony had a loss. The hospital here in my neck of the woods I told you about earlier, they experienced a loss. And that's why we see companies being more proactive instead of reactive. The example of my credit card company, I've actually set it up so that anytime there is a transaction on my credit card, I get a text message. That's being extremely proactive. I know it gets annoying for me to get those texts, but trust me, I'm glad they have that service, because if I had a credit card company that didn't alert me or didn't give me that option, I'd probably go to a different credit card company. And when you think of the example of the other Sony attack, which affected the Sony PlayStation Network or the Sony Network, that killed the ability to play and actually run applications during the Christmas holiday season, don't tell me that Sony didn't have a loss of business during that time frame. And I bet their reputation was obviously hurt. And they had a loss of revenue. And guess what? They had downtime. And again, customer information has been exposed on that particular network. So yes, hacking influences the small business all the way up to the large corporations.